Okay, okay. The things.
Yeah, it appears I can't share my slides.
Okay, let me check. Just a minute, please. Carry on. I think you can do it now.
Great. Thank you so much. I think I should be able to share this point. I want to believe everyone can see my slides now.
Yes, Doc.
Great. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on LLMs and prompt engineering basics as part of the Women Leading Change in Africa capacity building training series. My name is Ibrahim Yusuf, as rightly introduced by Dr. Haruna, and I shall be the one to take you through this session. So the learning goals for this short webinar is simple. Basically for us to be able to understand what large language models are and why they matter in higher education. And most importantly is to be able to learn how to interact with them. We all know that for you to interact with any LLM, you need to write what we call a prompt. That's the instruction you give to the LLM in order to elicit what you want to get from it. So we'll learn 6 proven prompt strategies. And these strategies are based on the OpenAI's guidance. OpenAI is arguably the topmost, or the number one company that do LLMs amongst others, though there are several other competitors, but by far the most popular is OpenAI. They are the ones that developed ChatGPT, the popular ChatGPT. We'll also see how to practice transforming big prompts into optimized ones for real academic tasks, and basically explore responsible and ethical AI use in an educational context. So first thing first, before we talk about LLMs, even though this is not a technical talk on AI, but I thought at this age, where AI has almost become a buzzword, I think it's not out of place if we have a basic understanding of what AI is. We hear AI, yeah, what is it? So AI stands for artificial intelligence. And in very simplistic terms, it refers to systems that are designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Whenever you design any system that requires some sort of human intelligence, that's what we call artificial intelligence system. And you see from this chart by my left, by the left of the slide, that there are various components to AI. That's what we call machine learning. There are other components, but by far the most popular subfield of AI is what we call machine learning. Machine learning is an area of study under artificial intelligence that tries to program computers that perform tasks autonomously without being programmed explicitly. And there are several types. We have what we call supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, semi-supervised learning. So under machine learning, there's also another very important subfield called artificial neural networks. All the magic that's happening in the AI world is arguably attributed to neural networks. A neural network is a network that's inspired by the way our biological neuron works, and it has proven to perform wonders in several areas. So a deep neural, and basically architecturally, the artificial neural network has what we call layers, 3 layers: the input layer, the hidden layer, and the output layer. And it turns out that whenever the hidden layer is more than 1, we refer to that in the AI field as a deep neural network, as opposed to a shallow neural network. So whenever you have a neural network architecture that has more than 1 hidden layer, we call that a deep neural network. And that's where the entire field of deep learning is. So any architecture that you developed inspired by a neural network that has more than 1 hidden layer, we call that deep learning. And under deep learning, there are several sub areas, but for the purpose of this class, we'll talk about generative AI. Generative AI generally refers to artificial intelligence systems that try to generate new outputs based on some given inputs. And those outputs could be text, it could be images, it could be videos, etc. And then that brings us to what LLMs are, which is the basic, the topic of discussion today. So what are LLMs? So at its core, an LLM is a very advanced artificial intelligence system that has been trained on massive amount of text data. Massive amount of text data. And its primary function is to predict the most likely word in a sequence. Basically, without going deep into any technicality, the role of any LLM is to predict what word comes next, given a particular sequence. And this can be used for several capabilities, for activities such as summarization, drafting, ideation, data extraction, conversation, etc. And it's common knowledge that everybody now uses AI to do several things. And the academia is not excluded. In education, we use AI for research, for administration, even for teaching, for assessment. Even the students are not left behind. So everybody uses it. And these are a few use cases where LLMs finds application in the educational arena. Speeds up literature review and drafting. It supports differentiated teaching materials and formative feedback. It automates administrative and reports. Generally democratizing access to research synthesis and grant writing support. Now, let me go back to how LLM works. And if you understand this slide, then probably this will guide you on how effectively you use these LLMs. So like I mentioned earlier, it is essentially nothing but a next word predictor. So for example, you have this slide that has a sentence that says the cat sat on. So basically what an LLM does is that it looks at this sequence of words and then uses some mathematics and probability to predict what word is likely to come next after this. And based on this, you could see that there are an array of words that are likely to come under this. For example, it could be the cat sat on the, or the cat sat on a, or the cat sat on it. So basically, based on this ranking, the one that has the highest probability is D. And therefore, the LLM predicts that, okay, after this word, the next word that comes is D. And then that continues. So if you go to ChatGPT or Gemini or any other LLM you use and you type tell me about ABU, and then you sit down, fold your arms, and you see this magical text coming out. This exactly what's happening. So from your prompt, the LLM predicts what next is likely to come, and then it does that to the next, to the next one, to the next, to the next, till it gives you exactly what you want. So it's trained on large text corpora. Corpora is the plural of corpus. And when we say corpus in AI or NLP, you're referring to some textual datasets. And then essentially it predicts next word or token. And like I mentioned, a generic language model is essentially a next word predictor. I've mentioned this in the university or in education generally. LLMs can serve higher education in several areas. At the faculty, lecturers can use that to create lesson plans and assignment rubrics. You can use it to develop case studies and discussion questions. Researchers also, we can use it for research, do ethically, to summarize complex articles, to brainstorm research questions and methodologies, amongst others. In administration, you can use it to draft email reports, policy documents, qualitative feedback. Even the librarians are not left behind. They can use AI to generate resource guides and research tutorials, create metadata and content summaries, etc. Now, the question that having this background that everybody uses this tool, how do we use it effectively? And I think that's what this discussion is all about. How would you be able to give the LLM the right input, or what we call prompt, so that it elicits exactly the response you desire? Great. We are in a lucky world now. There are a plethora of these LLMs available. ChatGPT from OpenAI, DeepSeek from DeepSeek, Gemini from Google, Grok from xAI, Cloud from Anthropic, etc. All of these are available, even though some are proprietary, some are free, and then some are freemium. Freemium means there's some section that's free and then some are premium. For example, ChatGPT, you can use it for free because there's a free version, but there are certain capabilities that requires you to opt for the paid version, isn't it? Lucky enough, the main competitor, arguably, DeepSeek, is entirely free. And of course, we have other alternatives like Gemini, Grok, Cloud, etc. Lucky enough, because somebody may be confused, okay, is it practical for us to look at all of these alternatives today? No. It turns out that once you learn how to use one effectively, then you shouldn't have any problem using the others, because the interface is somewhat the same, it's intuitive. So I assure you that once you can use one effectively, you shouldn't have any problem using any other one. And for the purpose of this class, I thought of which one to use. And I said, why not go to the most popular, arguably, ChatGPT. So once we know how to use this, we can always translate our knowledge to all the other alternatives. So if you go to ChatGPT, I'm assuming that everybody knows how to get into this. ChatGPT is a service that there is the web version and there is the mobile version, whichever one you want to, and it's simple. You just go to ChatGPT. Let me see if I can open my browser. Chrome. So if you don't have an account, you go to chatgpt.com. If you have an account, then it will bring this interface for you. But if you do not, then you may need to go and sign up. And I believe sign up shouldn't be something difficult for anybody. So so this area is where you enter your prompt. Okay, if you come to this place, this is where you enter whatever you want to enter. Maybe tell me about Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Okay, so this is what you call a prompt. What you enter here is what we call the prompt. Okay, So the essence of this explanation is to teach you how to write effective prompts so that you get exactly what you want. Okay, and if you look carefully, you see that you can just type whatever you want to type and then you get the results, isn't it? And then alternatively, beside the text area, you will see a microphone symbol. So this is the voice mode. You can click this and then voice out whatever you want to say, okay? So if you just come here and click this place, once you click this place, so whatever you see is going to be available on the prompt area. Maybe if you just hit and here, you can see that. So this is what I was saying. So whatever you see is going to be available on the prompt area, and then you can now edit accordingly. So earlier I wrote, tell me about Ahmadu Bello University. If I had wished, I would say, tell me in 2 sentences what Ahmadu Bello University is all about. So this is an alternative way of entering your prompt. Okay. Tell me about Ahmadu Bello University in 2 paragraphs. Sometimes if your network is not good, it may not. So you can see, tell me about Ahmadu Bello University in 2 paragraphs. If there is a typo, you can just go and correct. Or if it is trivial, you can just leave it. The AI is smart enough to know that, okay, this is what you meant. Okay, so this one, before I go, I mentioned next word predictor. So you see, I wrote this prompt, and then all this magical thing is coming out. So what we're saying is that at the core, the mathematics happening behind the scene is that we have a probabilistic system that tries to predict what word is likely to come after a paragraph. It should be Ahmadu, then Bello University, ABU, Zaria established. So that's how the word is being predicted till it gives you this coherent response you're having here. That's at the skeletal level of what's happening. Just next to the voice mode, you also see another tool here. So how is this different from this particular? So when you click on this, the first one, you voice out your prompt, and then it becomes available at the search area, text area, and then you optionally go there and you edit before you now hit enter, so that the LLM can give you its response. But when you hit the one next to it, it allows you to have a real-time interactive session with the LLM. So once you use this to voice out your prompt, you receive spoken response from the LLM, and this helps you to have a hands-free interaction or accessibility. I'm not sure I'm sharing my audio, but maybe once you click here, it becomes green. So it becomes blue. It means it's ready to receive your response. So when you say, maybe tell me about Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
Absolutely. So when we say, tell me about Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, we're essentially asking for information about the university's history, its academic programs, campus life, research initiatives, and overall reputation. It's a way to get a comprehensive snapshot of what the university is all about.
Thank you. Who is the current Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria?
Professor Adamu Ahmed is the current Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. He started his tenure on May 1st, 2025, taking over from Professor Kabir Rahman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm not sure whether we've had the response, because I'm not sure that I shared my computer audio. Did you hear the response from the LLM? Yes, Doc. Great, thank you. So that's the other alternative for the voice mode. So in this case, if you don't want to type anything, you can just relax on your chair, on your bed, you turn out the voice mode, and you begin to have interaction across any subject area, whether it's in medicine, engineering, sports, what have you. You will see that in the LLM, you have the option of attaching some files here, okay? You can add photos, you can add files. And this is where the fun comes, isn't it? Sometimes what you want to get from the LLM is not in your head, or you don't want to type it. It's already typed somewhere or in a PDF, and you just want to upload to the PDF and then use it accordingly. So that's where the add photos and files come into play. And you can add any type of file. You can attach documents in PDF, presentation, text files for ChatGPT, etc. And this where for educators, this is where some of these things come handy. For example, you can use it across anything. Maybe if you have a PDF, a 3-page document, and you want to have a summary of what's happening in the document, or let's even say a 20-page document, you can simply upload that document to the LLM, and then you can ask it to summarize it for you. Or if it's your lecture notes, you prepare the lecture notes and you want to create, let's say, tutorial questions for your students, or you want to extract MCQs, you can just do that. And I think maybe I should illustrate this for the purpose of the novices to LLMs. So let me go back. Let me say I have a material here. Let me see if I have material. Okay, I have a material. Let me go to my computer. Let me see what material I have here. Okay, let me go to my desktop. Let me go to courses, I think. Let me go to DLC, for example. Let me say I'm taking a course at DLC, isn't it? And let's say it's COM 839. And let me select any course. Okay, I have the materials here. It can be in PDF, it can be in PowerPoint, isn't it? So let me carry, let's say, the second presentation. That's this is the second presentation. I may want to open it for you to see what's happening. So this is the presentation document. Let me go to, let's say, courses. Let me say DLC, and then I picked up the second presentation. I think this is it, isn't it? Let me open it so that we understand what's happening. So it's a material that's talking about skills of measurement, data, and study design. It's a 34-page document. So this is exactly what I am uploading. This is exactly what I'm uploading to the AI, isn't it? And since it's uploaded now, you can now accompany this upload with any prompt you want. Anything. Maybe you can ask it to summarize in one paragraph, or let's say you want to generate MCQs. I know it's something that we do often, isn't it? I can say generate 20 multiple MCQs from the attached material. And once you do this, you will see that you have all sorts of questions with the answers, isn't it? And all of these are questions that have been extracted from the material. So I requested for 20 and it will give me exactly 20 as I wanted, isn't it? If you decide to say, okay, 7 should be easy, 7 moderate, and the remaining should be difficult. So in this case, I'm given the difficulty level. Is that okay? So it will structure that according to how I want it. And this is exactly what we're going to learn in this particular class, okay? So, and before we're going to come to that format, but for now, since I'm already in this example, I know in ABU, if you're issuing out MCQ, maybe for CBT, I know there is a particular format in which they prefer it, isn't it? So you can just give out the format in which you want the questions to come. So you could just see the format, I can say use the format below. For example, I can say the question is, who is the president of Nigeria? And I know for the CBT, they require that the options should be preceded by double @ symbol. I can say Z Haruna, and then I can say Bola Tinubu. So in ABU CBT, if you want to give the questions, the answer should be preceded by a tilde, isn't it? And then I can go and give the other response. I can say Y Ibrahim, and then I can see Zaria. So if I do this, I am given the format in which I want the questions to be. So I can just hit this, and it is smart enough to understand that, okay, this is how it wants the questions to be. And in that case, it will format everything the way you want. So, friends, the essence of this presentation is not, because I see a few friends that they would first of all go to the LLM, get what they want, and then they will now come and sit down and spend 1 hour or 2 hours formatting what the LLM has given them before they now submit. No. The essence of this presentation is that you should know that from ab initio, you can be able to give the LLM a prompt so that it gives you exactly what you want in the way you want it. So let's go back to the slide. So you can also, if you have the file in your, let's say, Google Drive, you can just share the link. Once you give access to the LLM, it should be able to go to your Google Drive and get whatever it want to get for you. You can also create images, okay? You can create images using ChatGPT. So there are two options. You can just come here. You can come here and enable this create image, and then you enter the prompt, maybe image of a cow, of a blue cow flying on the sky. It can be any nonsensical prompt. Whatever you give is going to imagine and give you. Even if you don't enable the image, the AI is somewhat smart. Once you say that generate an image of something, it should be able to give you that without any problem. Even though personally, I don't usually use ChatGPT for generating images. I prefer to use Copilot. And Copilot is obtained from the Edge browser. I don't know that it's ready. It's not yet ready. So I can show you the how to generate images from Copilot, and then maybe I can copy the same prompt and give it. Then we can just juxtapose the output. So if you come to Copilot, by the top right, you see Copilot here. Can you see it? So once you click it, it brings in an interface for you. And whatever you enter here should be able to give you the response the way you want. So for example, if you type generate image of a blue cow flying in the sky, isn't it? Should be in the sky. And then you can select any format you want. I can say Smart GPT or whichever one. And once you hit enter, it should be able to be smart enough to go and begin generating that image for you. You can just copy it and put it in your notes. Let me go back to the LLM and see that it's ready. So you can see it generated an image of a cow, blue cow flying in the sky. Let's juxtapose with the one we have for Copilot. So this is another one. And if you're satisfied, you can just download and use the way you want to use it. And there are several others like the Meta AI also. You can be able to generate images using the Meta AI. Let's go back to the slide. Okay. if you're using ChatGPT, you see that there is a very useful tool called Think Longer. Basically, what's happening here is that you're saying, please, before you give me the response, think before. So understand the context. Think before you give me the response. And if you enable this, you tend to get much better response compared to what you have earlier. And then this deep research is for academics. If you want to do research. But if you are conversant with the use of LLMs when they came newly, one of the key problems with LLMs, particularly ChatGPT, is hallucination. What's hallucination? Hallucination means it can just be able to give you something that does not exist, or begin to just combine facts and give you confidently. So in order to solve some of these problems, ChatGPT has tried to introduce several tools, for example, the deep research, the web search, so that it becomes sure of whatever it gives you because it brings out the output. Before, if you use ChatGPT to generate maybe literature review, it can give you some responses that do not even exist. Okay, they can give you some responses that don't even exist. But with the essence of this deep research, it goes online, go to these repositories that have some of this literature, read them, and then condense the information in a very concise and clear way before giving you, and then to cite the reference for you. And in most cases, the references are usually correct. And that's why researchers prefer to use this tool for their literature review or any other academic work. That's why if you're using ChatGPT, you see that it's not entirely free. I think they give you how many, if you're using it, I think if you're using deep research, they give you, every month they give you, I think 3. Where is it? Deep research. As you can see, okay, I think 5 now. You can see that for here, they're telling me that 5 left, and then more will be available by November 7. Or if you want more usage, then you may have to subscribe to the premium version of ChatGPT, isn't it? Apart from this, there's also web search. I mentioned hallucination. Sometimes you can, I don't know, this technical. If you train an AI model to do something, even if there is no internet, it will work. Because there's what we call weights that the model tries to optimize. And once it got those weights, even though technically we call them parameters now, those parameters are what is used. They are what the LLM used to generate the output. So even if the model was trained 2 years ago, and you come 2 years after to ask it who is the vice chancellor of Ahmad Bello University, it is going to use its prior knowledge that it knows to give you the answer. And without this web search, and if the model has not been updated to when we have a new VC, it will probably tell us that the vice chancellor is Professor Kabir Bala. So in order to solve this problem, ChatGPT and most other LLMs introduce this web search. And the role of this web search is that, okay, it knows that the correct information is most likely available online. So it goes online first, gets the correct information, and then passes that information to the LLM, and then tries to give you the information you want in a coherent manner. And that's why you would have to enable this. You would have to enable this web search. Where is it? You will have to enable this web search for you to. So anything that you ask now, it will go online first, get the information, and then gives you the answer in a coherent manner. So that problem that even if the model doesn't know, it's no more there any longer. Sometimes, even if you don't enable the web search, once you ask a question now, And the LLM is smart enough to know that for me to answer this question, I need current information. Even if you don't enable the search, it will on its own trigger the web search first, get the information before giving you the answer. For example, I don't know, what key event happened yesterday? Let me go to livescore.com and see. Let me go to livescore and see which clubs played the match. Let me see yesterday. Let me see. Let me go to yesterday. Yesterday there was a match between us. Okay, this. Okay. So you see, there was a match between. Let me go to Aston Villa and Burnley, isn't it? There was a match between Aston Villa and Burnley on the 5th of October, isn't it? So if you go to the LLM now and you ask it that what is the latest score between, let me see, Aston Villa and Burnley, isn't it? You see, this information requires, because I could have, the model may have been trained 2 years ago. And if I say I would use this information to ask the LLM, it will use the latest information of 2 years ago. But if I come here and I enable the web search, it will go online first, get the correct information, and then give you the response in the way you want. So if I come here and I enable search now, can you see that it's saying searching the web, isn't it? So it will go online, search the web before giving you the answer. And it's telling you that the latest score is Aston Villa 2, Burnley 1. And that's exactly what we have in live score. I believe we understand how this plays around. So let's say I want to summarize what happens. Maybe I want to summarize something that happens maybe today. I can just go and enable the web search and I can ask it to summarize it in 2 paragraphs. So that paragraphing that we have is done by the LLM, but it is doing it based on the correct information that's available online. I can say it should give me the scores in maybe in tabular format or in bullet or what have you. Let's go back to the slide. There's also what you call the canvas. The canvas is an interactive editing space where you and ChatGPT can co-author or debug text and code. So basically, what's the key difference? If you come here and you enable this canvas, okay, what's happening here is that whatever prompt you enter, you can be able to, in real time, go and edit the code within the LLM itself. I can say maybe list the VCs, list the last 10 VCs of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, for example. So once you enable the canvas, you can be able to enter within the response and edit accordingly. Not that you have to copy the answers, take it to Microsoft Word, edit. No. You can be able to, in real time, make edit to whatever the LLM is giving you. And in some case, the LLM is taking note of what you are editing within the LLM. So these are some, you can also, just like Google Drive, if you have your information in OneDrive or SharePoint, you can be able to connect them and be able to use them accordingly. One key thing In fact, this is arguably one of my best features in LLMs now, is this study and learn mode. And this is particularly useful for students. If you want to learn any concept, as opposed to just going to the LLM and writing, explain this for me. No. It's going to take you through the concepts as though you are before a real teacher. And happy enough, not just LLM, most of these prominent LLMs also are introducing this feature. For example, the ChatGPT calls its own study and learn. And then for Gemini, they call theirs guided learning. And I believe the others also have their own way of. So in this case, once you enter any topic, the way the LLM will be interacting with you is as though you are before a real tutor. It is going to give you questions, you respond. From the response to tell you are correct or you are wrong, or you should get to understand this concept more, something like that. It can even quiz you. The LM can give you some quiz and it will require you to say the answers. And from the answers that you enter, the LLM will tell you whether you are right or wrong with some constructive feedback. So essentially, friends, if you want to get the best of LLMs, the most important thing is to know how to engineer prompts. What are prompts? They are the instruction or questions you give to an LLM, and prompt engineering is generally the skillful design of prompts to get the best, most relevant, and most accurate output from an LLM. Please, this skill set is not a trivial skill set. If you go to LinkedIn now, you will see people calling themselves prompt engineers. And in fact, if you go to some of these MOOCs, like Coursera or EDX or Udemy, you will see paid courses that people have done on prompt engineering that you need to pay to get a certificate. And employers now tend to tilt towards people that can maneuver prompts effectively to give them exactly what they want. So the core idea is that it is garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you give the LLM is what it gives you out. So, and if you give a very precise prompt, you tend to get an excellent output. Always remember that prompts, when you are interacting with an LLM, you are not giving them commands. You are not coding. You are having a conversation with them. So you need to know how to converse effectively with these LLMs for you to get the response you want. So before we go to the key techniques, let's look at this prompt, the prompt at the left. So we say, tell me about climate change. You agree with me that this prompt is too broad, there is no context, and there is no any defined output. So if you go to ChatGPT and you say, tell me about climate change. Okay, this is the canvas, but you can come here and say edit, isn't it? And then you can be able to come and, if you want to add, if you want to convert this to prof, to maybe to professor, you can do that. You can do that within the canvas. Is that okay? Is that okay? That's the essence of using the canvas. So it enables you to have an interactive edit within the LLM itself. Let's go back to, let me create a new chart. If you say, tell me about climate change, you get some sort of broad, incoherent, and too broad response. This is not what you want. How about you compare this prompt with something like, act as an environmental science professor, and then explain the primary causes of climate change to a first-year undergraduate student in Nigeria. Provide 3 key points and use a relatable analogy. Format the output in bullet points. The response you get here would be entirely different from the ones you're going to get, because in this case, the response you get would come from as though it's an environmental science professor that's giving you the answer. And he's going to explain it clearly to somebody that's in his 100 level in university. And then he's going to provide, so everything is, so there are several elements that make this prompt perfect, and we're going to explain that in this particular lecture. So why does it work? Because we added what you call a persona. That's the section where we said act as a professor. So the response we're getting is as though we are inquiring from a renowned professor in environmental science. And then we gave an audience. You know, for the first prompt that was big, it will just explain, however complex, nobody cares. But because you have given it a requirement that you are explaining this to a first-year undergraduate, so it will not go and bring concepts that a postgraduate will understand. It will try to break it into concepts that every first-year undergraduate student should be able to understand without any problem. We also gave the task and format. The task was to explain, isn't it? And then we gave the format in which we want the response to come. So we said it should give us in what? In 3 key bullets. We also gave the context where we said in Nigeria, isn't it? So as of, if we hadn't written in Nigeria, isn't it? It may optionally give us context of South Africa or US or England or Saudi Arabia. So this nitty-gritty, these small things that we add to the prompt are what would force the LLM to give you the result that you want in exactly the way you want it. Now, let's look at the anatomy of a perfect prompt. Friends, if you didn't get anything from the beginning of this class, I would want to tell you that try and understand these 6 key components. Once you understand them, then you have obtained more than 70% of the take-home in this material. Every prompt you are writing to an LLM should, as much as possible, contain these 6 key components. The first one is what we call the task. The task is the specific action you want the AI to perform. And in most cases, that's where you use the action verbs. Write, summarize, translate, brainstorm, describe. So the task is compulsory. It must be there. But you should accompany the task with other elements such as context. That's the background information, okay, that the LLM would use in answering you. That's the why and the relevant details. The exemplar. Remember when I gave the example of when I shared the material, the DLC material, and I asked it to give me 20 MCQs. Because I didn't give any format, it gave me the MCQ in the way it wanted. But when I gave it in the way we wanted at ABU Zaria, it formatted it exactly how we wanted it. So that's what we call exemplar. So you can give an example of the input and output pattern you want. You can show it, or you can describe it, or you can. So yeah, you can describe how you want it, or you can just copy an example and give it and tell it to follow this particular example precisely. The fourth element is persona. That's the role or expertise you want the AI to adopt. Number 5 is format, the structure of the output. That's maybe the table, bullet points, email, etc. The tone, that's the style of the language, e.g. formal, conversational, inspirational, scholarly, etc. This persona is also very important. Sometimes if you have a style in which you want your writing to follow, you can give this persona. For example, you can write an article. If you write the article and you don't like the way the article is being, even though it gave you exactly what you want, but the style of tenses and choice of words is not something you like. If you have an idea of a writer that you want to adopt, you can just say write in the style of so-so. For example, I can come and say, tell me in 2 paragraphs, tell me about Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in 2 paragraphs, isn't it? I can say, write like Mr. or I can say like Professor, let's say, Wole Soyinka. So in this case, it's going to give you exactly 2 paragraphs about ABU, and the way it writes will be exactly the way Professor Wole Soyinka speaks, all right? In Port Harcourt, I used to give this example just for fun. In Port Harcourt, there is a very popular House of Reps member called Honorable Patrick Opajagbon that speaks big grammar. Let's try and see. Let's say use the style of Honorable Patrick Opajagbon. And you see that the way it tells you about ABU would be using all those kind of big grammar that is typical of Honorable Patrick Opajagbon. This is Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, that gargantuan citadel of cerebral fecundity and epistemic effulgence, you know. So this is what we call persona. So you can give it the persona you want and you get exactly what you want. The tone is the style of the language. You can say sound formal or sound friendly or sound pessimistic or sound scholarly, sound inspirational. However you want it, it's going to give you. Okay, so let's look at the former prompt I gave you earlier, where we said, tell me about climate change. So what's missing here? I think everything is missing except the task. We only have a task, which says, tell me about climate change. So it is devoid of the context, it's devoid of the tone, devoid of persona, devoid of format, exemplar. So how do we make this a perfect prompt? So look at it here. As opposed to saying, tell me about climate change, we said, act as an environmental science professor. That's the what? That's the persona. Explaining to a first-year undergraduate student in Nigeria, that's the context. Explain the primary causes of climate change, that's a task. Provide 3 key points and use a relatable analogy, that's the exemplar of structure. And then format the output in bullet points, that's the format, using clear, accessible language. I assure you, this prompt that has all the 6 components will be by far better than that vague prompt. Please do these things I put in bracket, the persona, don't go and add it in the prompt too. I'm just trying to show you that this is what represents the persona, the context, the task. So this an example, this is a task, this is the context, this is the exemplar, this is the persona, this is the format, this is the tone. And then if you combine everything in full, you can have something like this. This is another example. You are an experienced secondary school science teacher with 15 years of classroom experience. Create a weekly lesson plan for secondary school biology on the topic of photosynthesis. The class has 35 students, age, blah, 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 with mixed. So in this case, you are given all the essential components and you get exactly what you want, as opposed to just giving a vague comment. So this one also has the persona, the task, the context, the exemplar, the format, and the tone. So in summary, whenever you are writing any prompt, friends, there are 6 things you look out for. And some are optional and some are mandatory, while some are important. And this is the priority. The task is mandatory. If there is no task, there is no prompt now. This is followed by context and exemplar. They are very, very important. And then it's also nice to have persona, format, and tone. So this is some example of a simple prompt versus an optimized one. Okay, give me a syllabus for biology. Okay, as opposed to saying, act as a senior lecturer at a Nigerian university, design a 13-week course syllabus for an introductory cell biology course for first-year BSc students. The syllabus should include course learning outcomes, a week-by-week topic schedule, required reading. So you see, if you give something like this, it's a bit better. Okay. Incidentally, now you are lucky. Like few months ago, these things are not there. And if you want to write any prompt, you have to sit down and exemplify everything one after the other. But nowadays, there are custom GPTs that do exactly what you want. There are GPTs for writing, there are GPTs for productivity, there are GPTs for research, and so any custom GPT you have is solely optimized for performing a particular task. And in fact, even for making prompts, there are several prompts. There are several custom GPTs. And by far, one of the most popular in the GPT store is the prompt maker. Okay, so you can just give a basic prompt, and then the prompt maker can be able to convert that prompt to something. For example, this is how you use it. If you come to these GPTs, you see several GPTs, isn't it? So there are GPTs for writing, for productivity, for research, for education, for lifestyle, for this. All of these are custom GPTs that are optimized for doing one particular task. So let's call the prompt maker. Okay, let me say start chat. Okay. Who can give us a very basic prompt? Let somebody give me a basic prompt so that we can convert it to a very highly optimized prompt. Anybody? Okay, let me carry this prompt and say, okay, help me with literature review on artificial intelligence. Okay, let me say, help me with literature review on these. Maybe you are a PG student, you are doing research on AI, and you say, help me with literature review on these AI papers, isn't it? So this is the prompt, and you agree with me that by far this is a very lame and unoptimized prompt. So you can just come and copy this prompt and say, transform this. You can just see, transform this from a simple prompt to an optimized prompt, and let's see what happens. So this guy is the person that developed this custom GPT, Ruben Hassid. And look at how he transformed the prompt for you, friends. He said, act like a professional. Maybe let me open a Word document. Let me copy this, and I show you in Word. So you can see how the prompt is. It's about 2 pages. Let me condense it to, okay. So look at it. It says, act like a professional academic researcher specializing in artificial intelligence and literature reviews. You are highly skilled at analyzing, synthesizing, and summarizing scientific papers to extract patterns, themes, and research gaps. The objective is help the user conduct a comprehensive literature review of selected AI research papers. Your goal is to produce a detailed, structured, and critical synthesis that connects ideas across the papers and highlights key insights. Instruction: begin by asking the user. So look at this. Instead of me coming to a new chat, I upload my research paper to ChatGPT, and then I don't know if I have any paper here. Maybe you come here and you upload a paper. Let me see if I have a paper here. Maybe documents, maybe any research paper. Okay. Okay, I don't. But it's okay. Instead of me to just come and upload a paper here and then follow the prompt with help me with literature review on these AI papers, I can just come and say, I'll copy this code, and then I follow up with this. I'll upload the paper and then follow up with this particular prompt. And you agree with me that the LLM is going to do a better job with this prompt compared to that vague and lame prompt. But beyond this, take a look at what's happening. You see that even the people that are doing these custom GPTs, they ensure that everything they have has those 6 components inspired by OpenAI. For example, what is the task now here? What's the task? I want to be sure we are together. In this prompt, what is the task? Dr. Zaradin, am I audible?
Yeah, that is you are audible.
Very good. Okay, probably the participants are not allowed to unmute. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. So clearly you will see that in this optimized prompt, it has a task, which is conduct a comprehensive literature review. We have the persona, where we said act like a professional academic researcher specializing in artificial intelligence and literature review. You are highly skilled. And then we are given a context. We're saying you are highly skilled at analyzing, synthesizing, and summarizing. Okay, that's the persona. And then this is the context. You begin by asking this, identify this, do that, do that. And if you do this, the response you get is by far going to be better than the one you have for the lame prompt. Okay, and sometimes what I used to do before I start using custom GPTs is that if I write a prompt, this is a very quick hack. If you write a prompt, you can ask the LLM to rate this prompt on a scale of, let's say, 1 to 10. Maybe it can give you 2/10, or 8/10, or 7/10. And if it gives you the rating, then you can now follow up with this question: what would make this a 10/10 prompt? And then you will see how the LLM itself will magically transform your lame prompt into a better one, and then you can just copy it and give it to the same LLM to give you exactly what you want. Friends, as we use LLMs to do literature review, to teach, to learn, we should know that ethics and responsibility is very important. Try and critically verify and evaluate the output that you have, because AI can hallucinate. And you can cite AI use if you use it in any work. In fact, even popular platforms like APA now, if you go to APA website, there is a provision on how you can ethically cite any AI output that you obtain in any manuscript that you're using. Protect privacy. Please don't ever upload any sensitive or personal information to ChatGPT or DeepSeek or maybe your ID card or patient information, because these models usually rely on some of these interactions to make your work better, and there's in most cases human in the loop, and you may find a way of your information may find a way of getting. So please use AI as a catalyst, brainstorm, outline, and then you can now finally give it your voice lead. Somebody may ask, I want to use AI to do this thing for me, but this thing is highly sensitive. How can I use AI? Yeah. Okay, do not plagiarize, always verify, do not input private information. In fact, when I say verify, especially calculation, if you rely on AI for calculation, please carry your calculator and punch and ensure that the answers it gives you is the correct one. If you have privacy concerns and you still want to use AI, some of these LLMs have provision for you to use what we call temporary chat. If you go to ChatGPT, you see it here. Okay, turn on temporary chat. So once you turn on this, it becomes it has this dark theme. Just like if you're using your web browser in incognito mode, okay? So in that case, you are guaranteed that whatever you are doing starts and ends with you, and nothing is going to be related to the LLM servers. Okay. In case you find these things useful, you may want to check the IIOE platform. There is a very comprehensive course on how to use DeepSeek practically for teaching and practical applications. And it is the link. I'm going to share the material later. Thank you very much for your attention. That's my time, Mr. Haguna. You can take over.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf, for the following presentation. It's indeed educational and inspiring. So maybe we can just check the window ahead. Yeah, I think in the chat, in the Q&A section we don't have questions, but basically I think there are questions in the chat. So can you explain how one can use Canva, Dr. Yusuf? Because I think I saw one question there.
Yes. Yeah, with respect to LLMs, like I said, the Canva, as opposed to the traditional way where you just give your prompt and then you have some responses. If you have any problem with the prompt, of course, it's a conversation. You can follow up with another prompt saying, okay, this is not what I want, or this is how I want it. But the essence of the Canva is that you can be able to go within the output and make your edits accordingly. And the important thing is that the LLM is taking cognizance, is taking note of the key edits you are making, and then that makes life easier for you. But using Canva as a tool entirely, that is beyond the scope of this conversation. It's another topic entirely. If we want a discussion on how to use Canva more comprehensively, we can do that later. But for the purpose of LLMs and prompt engineering, that's the just key way of using it. Dr. Z, I hope I have responded.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see a question here.
Canva.
Can we use ChatGPT to analyze data?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, we can effectively use ChatGPT and, of course, all the other LLMs to analyze data. Yeah, and it depends on your expertise on other secondary tools, but you can actually. You can upload the data entirely in its entirety. If it is small, then you can have some discussion with the data. But personally, I prefer that you are already conversant with the use of some tools, let's say programming, let's say Python or R. And then once you upload a skeletal structure of the data to the LLM, it has the context, and then you can now follow up with instructions on how to get the codes to do that. So it can do exactly what you want without any problem. Depends on how your expertise, AI is also a tool. How you use it depends on you. If you are experiential in the use of other secondary tools, it makes life easier for you. So it will do the heavy lifting for you, and then it's up to you to now decide how you want to put it.
So thank you, Dr. Yusuf. I think that we still have one question.
Yes.
Like a question, somebody's asking, like an administrator, how can this element be of help to them?
It depends. It depends, like whether you are an administrator or an educator or a student, you can use AI in several use cases. For example, as an administrator, you want to send an email. Will you waste your time drafting the email, especially formal emails. Will you waste your time drafting emails? Maybe there will be typo, maybe your grammar is not even good, or you have problem with use of tenses. You can use AI to, with all of these skill set that we have shown, you can leverage this skill set to draft formal and catchy emails that your employer will be proud of. And in many other use cases also. Any use case that you can think of, AI can be helpful for you.
Also, we also have one question in the Q&A session. Maybe you can take them through again on how to create pictures.
Yes, like I said, most of these modern LLMs have capability for image generation. I think the only one that's yet to come on board is DeepSeek. You cannot fast generate images using DeepSeek, but all the other ones, ChatGPT, Llama, Copilot, you can be able to. So for the ChatGPT, I think it's straightforward. Probably he wants to use Copilot, which is my personal preference. Like I said, if you have an Edge browser, isn't it? There are two ways. If you have an Edge browser, can you see my slides, Dr. Zaria?
Yes.
If you have an Edge browser, you can just come to Copilot. It's right at the top right. Once you click it, it opens this text area for you. And then you can be able to type whatever you want to type. You can say maybe female lecturers at Ahmadu Bello University listening to a to an online lecture. I can see generate an image of female lecturers at ABU. So there are several models. If you want it to be quick, you can say quick response. You can think, and then you can use the Smart GPT-5, whichever one. It's using the GPT-5 from OpenAI to do this. I think there's a collaboration between Microsoft and, because this is from Microsoft. So once you do that, you get your image, and then you can just copy. In fact, all the images you see in this my presentation, all these images that you see in this presentation were obtained from, of course, except this. This was obtained from the IOE platform. I should cite it. But any other image you see here was obtained using AI. Okay, all of this. Okay, this from ChatGPT. Most of the images you see here, they are from AI. So once you have the idea of what you want to, so for example, this is the image I obtained now. Okay, I just said generate an image of female lecturers at Ahmadu University Zaria listening to a lecture. So if you don't want to use Copilot, you can go to your browser. Okay, you can just go to your browser and you type. Let me open Chrome. You can just go to and type copilot.com. Okay, is that okay? That's if you want to access Copilot from another browser, but for Edge, it's already there. So you have this interface, and you can just enter your prompt, isn't it? Let me be fair also. I say female, let me say male here. And then if you do this, it will begin generating exactly what you want. Another alternative is Llama, isn't it? You can access that from your WhatsApp, or you can also go to the website. I think they also have a web version that you can just enter and get your response. I hope this helps. So this one is this one is for the Copilot using the web browser. And the key thing, for example, if you're developing a lecture material and you want to juxtapose or rather you want to romanticize your textual slides with images, okay? You can, in your prompt, ask the LLM to suggest prompts for generating images that are relevant to every slide. And all you need to do is that if you're using maybe AI to generate PowerPoint presentation, so after it generates, you can write a prompt such that it will generate the PowerPoint presentation, that's the textual points, and then it will accompany that with a prompt that can be used to generate an image. And in my experience using this, even if you don't do, just have your idea, just precede the prompt with the visual, okay? And then write anything here, isn't it? Maybe a cat sleeping. Just precede your prompt with this visual, and it will generate the image for you. I hope this helps.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. As I think we have one question in the chat. So how can we use humanizer and AI detectors?
Yeah, I think there are several available humanizers that you can use. I know the popular one is the GPT-0, isn't it? You can detect whether an article was AI written, and then you can now use GPT-0 to humanize it. And then I show you from the custom prompt also, if you go to ChatGPT, there are custom GPTs that are for humanizing, isn't it? If you come to explore custom GPTs, and if you go to writing, you can see AI humanizer, isn't it? So there are several others that, and you can see that there are several, more than 9 million people have conversed with this. So all you need to do is to copy your AI text. You copy your AI text, and then you accompany that. Once you're in the AI humanizer, once you write your AI text and you hit enter, it will attempt to convert it to as though it was written by humans. So all those cliches of AI will be removed and it will sound human. And personally, I have a prompt. I have a personal prompt that once an article is written by AI, I will simply copy the AI text and then follow it up with that my personal prompt. And then the prompt would convert that to human written text. And whatever AI detection tool you will use, it would not be able to flag it as AI written.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody wrote, like, I know how to use ChatGPT. And my question is, LLMS the same or not? Thank you.
What?
Uh,
You can use
ChatGPT.
and then what again?
My question is, large language models the same or not? I don't know whether you see the large language
probably he joined the class. Probably
yes.
he joined the class late.
Yes.
It's just like saying I know how to use Gmail, but I cannot use email. Something like that.
Exactly.
The LLM is a generic name for all language models. So ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Llama, Copilot, Cloud, they are all large language models. So the LLM is just a generic name that captures this. So just like email is the generic name. Of course, we have Gmail, we have other variants.
Okay. You talk about you have a prompt that you use to make everything test, to humanize everything test.
Yes.
Somebody is requesting if you can assist them with the
that one should be private. That one is a private thing. If you want the prompt, you talk to me privately, and then we discuss.
Okay. So I think Miles, you can drop your email via your chat. Ibrahim@ab.edu.ng, so that at least they can contact you later. So can we use LLM offline to write a report of an event?
What do you mean offline? Yes,
Okay.
some of these LLMs are beginning to roll out legacy versions for offline download. So you can download it. You can download the entire model on your device, and then once it's on your device, even if there's no internet, it will be able to generate responses for you. But the key problem is that once it is offline, then the knowledge is limited. Whatever output it gives you would be based on the knowledge it was used to train. As opposed to if it's online, this capability of going online first. Actually, technically, we call it RAG, retrieval augmented generation. If you are in AI or computing, you can read about it. What happens is that it's still the same paradigm. The same way we train the models is what happens. But what happens is that in the retrieval augmented generation, once you give a prompt and you enable that search, or even on its own, even like I said, even if you didn't enable the search, if you give a question that the LLM understands that it requires to go online to get the answer, it will first of all go online, get recent information from highly ranked websites, get the answer, and then from the answer, it will now feed in that answer as part of your prompt, and then it will now be organized in the way you wanted the answers to be. Just like I illustrated for the match between Burnley and one other club that was played on the 5th of this month. Okay.
And I think maybe can you take like 2 minutes to talk about the ethical use of AI, especially in the context of examination?
Okay, in the context of
Examination.
Okay, maybe are you referring to on the part of the students or what?
Yeah, part of
Maybe a lecturer gives an assignment, and then students
Exactly.
well, it's a concern actually, and that's why you see academics, some anyway, are not happy with this trajectory in which AI is moving. But I think this is one of the discussions that every sane institution is moving towards now. Whether we like it or yes, AI is here to stay, and everybody uses it. The teachers, the students. In fact, there is an article in one of these European universities where I think it's in the UK, where a student sued her university just because her instructor cautioned against the use of AI while he himself is using it. So the discussion basically now should be, I'll come back to answer my question. The discussion now is just the way we have our first webinar on rethinking teaching and learning. We should also have another webinar on rethinking assessment in the age of AI. You live in a different world as a lecturer if you give you the response, and the response will be correct in most cases. So in that case, as a lecturer, I would rather than frowning at AI, I would rather develop schema that would force the student to use their ingenuity in answering the questions or assignment, even if they will use AI. One of my friends was showing me one application call. It's an AI application call. Because they don't want to deceive themselves. In the call, they wrote it clearly that, please, the use of AI is highly encouraged in preparing your submission. So it means that in the call, they are not after how you form your tenses, or no. There are certain things they are looking out for, and that one has nothing to do with AI. But they want the submission to be perfect, so they are encouraging you to use. So that's we. For students, and even the teachers also, because we are into research now and we know we use AI in doing some of these things. I think the new trend is that you disclose your AI use. I mentioned that APA, if you go to their website now, there is a provision on how to cite AI accordingly. So the ethical thing that if you use AI to generate a document, you should explicitly state how and where AI was used in your work. I think I just published a paper, last week, and in the paper, if you check it, there's in the sections where you have acknowledgement, where you have data availability, there is also a section for AI use. You have to state exactly where and how you use AI, and they are not frowning at you. No, they just want you to be transparent. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. I think we have one final question. There's a question that is asking about is that a questions generation? That how do you
Yes.
generate questions using large language models? And the second one is talking about is it ethical to use AI to generate questions?
What is wrong with using AI to generate questions? That's what then you share the material with AI and you ask it to generate possible questions for you. If you check the questions and the questions are exactly what you would probably ask, then why not? I'm not seeing the thin line here. I'm not seeing any thin line on using AI to generate questions on materials that you prepare. As far as the questions are extracted from the material, I don't think anything wrong. And I think maybe you asked how to go. The how is very simple. We've taught you how to use AI using the 6 rubrics, using the 6 elements. You can just share your lecture notes to the AI, and then you can ask accordingly how you want the questions to be. If the students were mischievous during classes, you can ask the AI to generate difficult questions. if you no, that is just if you want, if maybe if there is some CA and you think that there will be massive failure, you can ask the AI to generate moderately difficult questions. How do you want it?
Okay.
Of course, if it does generate, I think I gave an example of generating a question using, I think one of, let me go to my history. Okay, here. Is it here? Okay, I think is it this? I think I've opened several chats. Okay, here. So this is a course that I teach at DLC, COM 839, Health Statistics and Computing. And what I did was I simply uploaded the material to the AI. This is the material, and I asked it to generate 20 MCQs from the attached material. If I want to be comprehensive, I would say generate 20 MCQs. 10 should be easy. 5 should be moderately difficult. 5 should be very difficult. And I think when I gave this example, I was trying to explain the difference between giving a vague prompt and a refined, optimized prompt. So look at it. It's all of these questions were obtained from the material. A variable that can take on only whole numbers is called that. And the answer is discrete variable. And all of these are part of the material. So I now said, if you leave the question to submitting to CBT. What do you call it? CBT for CBT. I think they require that the options be preceded by double at symbol, isn't it?
Yes.
And then the correct answer should be preceded by a tilde, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what I see a few colleagues do in this university is that some would use AI to generate the questions for them, and then they would sit down and spend 2 hours appending acts before the questions, and then checking the answers and putting tilde. So the essence of this discussion is to tell you that whatever you want to do from A to Z, sit down and waste 20 minutes generating the prompt. And then so that when you get the answer, it will be exactly what you want. So we simply gave a format of how we want the answer to be. We said, use the format below. So we gave a question, who is the president of Nigeria? This is not necessary. And I say, A, Z Haruna Bola Tinubu, and I indicated the answer with a tilde. The LLM is smart enough to understand how to process further questions, and it gave you. So all you need to do is now to. So somebody is asking that, what is the ethics of using AI to generate questions? The primary limitation of a cross-sectional study is that this is a question that you as a lecturer can naturally ask. So what's the ethics in using this to generate questions?
So I think maybe let me ask this question because I know some of the participants may also be thinking the same way. Now, if I use the lecture material to generate questions, MCQs, and this same student that I'm teaching, or I give the slide to the presentations, then I also use ChatGPT also to ask same question to generate. Are we going to
that's why we have this discussion on prompt engineering. I can design my prompt such that I would generate MCQs from my material, and nobody in this world would be able to predict the questions. That's why we have the discussion. Even if the student is experiential using the 6 elements of the perfect prompt, he would not know what my task would be. He would not know what my context would be. He would not know. I would be able to tweak the context, the persona, and the task such that nobody else will be able to predict how the answers will be. And the truth is students are already doing this, especially if you know that questions will be CBT. Yeah. And I think that's the essence of this discussion. Once you know this technique of engineering your prompt, even if I give you my material and I'll tell you it's going to be CBT, you can never predict how the questions will come. In my prompt now, I can do something. I can say all the questions should be technical, calculation based, and there's a way in which you do it that nobody can predict what the questions will be.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the difference between plagiarism checker and AI detector?
Okay, an AI detector is a tool that will detect whether an article is likely written by AI or human, isn't it? While plagiarism in scholarship means whether it was AI written or it was human written, was this piece of text someone else's, or is this piece of text someone else's idea or someone else's work? If you take any course on research methodology, I know plagiarism is a very key module that we teach. And the key thing is that you are not allowed to copy someone else's work verbatim. At best, you read the work, you recast, and then you reference. So it's one thing to detect whether an article is human written or AI written. But it's also another thing to detect whether the AI or the human generated article was plagiarized. Yeah, you can generate something. AI can generate something for you, and if you check it in, turn it in or authenticate, it will flag it as plagiarized. Because remember, we said these are network predictors. These are AI models that learn from historical data. Probably it went and probably the output of the AI rhymes exactly with what was published by someone somewhere. So the plagiarism tool will tell you that it's plagiarized. So there are two different things. AI detector tells us whether this article is likely written by human or likely written by a machine, while plagiarism detects whether the article, regardless of whether it was human or AI written, is someone else's idea or work. And in fact, if you read works now, there are research articles in AI that try to train models to detect whether articles were AI or human written.
Okay. I think for this wonderful presentation is educational, inspiring one, and motivational. So the whole goal of this session is to educate teachers, students, administrators on how to utilize their time instead of taking 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours generating questions, generating content, responding messages, and the rest. You can actually leverage the use of this algorithm to uh, generate whatever thing you want within limited time, and you can use the other time for doing other most important things. As teacher, you need to present lecture note, you need to present questions, you need to mark, and you need to. So you see, if you can actually leverage the use of this large language models, it will highly improve your productivity, especially in the use of maybe other part of research and other things. We sincerely appreciate Dr. Yusuf for taking his time to put this. Actually, the session is also end for duration of 1 hour, but basically, you look at the way that Yusuf take it from the beginning to the end is interactive and with so much takeaways that in one way or the other you will benefit from his. We have listed some of the courses that are already on the IE portal, IOE International Institute of Online Education. As this project, this webinar is part of a project sponsored by IOE under it's part of a project called basically the project is targeting how to improve the productivity of women and men, but with emphasis to women. So part of this, part of the IOE, there's one called micro certification courses, which basically participants that are registered on the platform can courses that are courses that has to do with prompt engineering. I think courses some on the chat, especially for those that think that they need to like enhance their skills more. Teaching with AI, practical tips and prompts, introduction to DeepSeek, and practical application in teaching. Story AI in classroom, and individuals can also register as partners as a partner to IIOE Nigeria National Center. So, activities of the National Center. All was preparing a policy dialogue. Females,